What you see behind me is my Yamaha pressure washer, and it's been stalling intermittently. It's been sitting a couple years. I just got it running, and I'll start pressure washing with it, and next thing you know, it's stalling. And it keeps doing that repeatedly. It doesn't matter if it's choked, half choked, or what. So obviously something's wrong. In this video, I'm going to go over the top 6 reasons this is happening, and we're going to troubleshoot it one reason at a time. And by the end of this video, you're going to be an old pro, an old hat, when it comes to troubleshooting any engine like this. Whether it's a pressure washer, whether it's a mini bike, anything that has a small engine, these methods will work on, and it'll help you substantially in the future on a multitude of different machines. I have this happen on motorcycles too after they've been sitting a few years, especially old restoration projects. There's a bunch of sediment in the bottom of this tank, most likely, that's clogging this screen. This whole unit goes up in there, and it's got a little screen that sticks up. That's typically clogged, and then there's a globe on the bottom. See how my on and off valve, a lot of these are very similar. There's a globe on the bottom that unscrews, and you look at all that shit in there. That ain't good. That's from the ethanol gasoline. I probably got to clean the tank out. Sometimes I'll blow air backwards, so I'll take a fuel line, connect it to the other side of the valve, this side where it's going to the carburetor, turn on the line and blow air backwards through it, literally, sometimes with my mouth if I'm in a situation, and then shut off the fuel valve really quick, and that'll get you going a little ways, especially if you're stranded on a motorcycle or something. But just to clarify that I don't have an overwhelming amount of sediment anymore in my gas tank, and that it's not my fuel filter or valve here, I'm just going to turn this on with that globe off. We have really good fuel flow there now, so I'm going to put this back on. That's how you test that. Another reason, more rare, but it does happen, is your carb float adjustment is off. So I'm going to show you in a nutshell how a carburetor works really quick. I got this bad boy taken apart. I got the bottom globe off here. It was really, really bad. Lots of crap in there. You can see the rust. This is your float right here, and basically when fuel gets low in the carburetor bowl, this opens up a valve. See, that needle seats or pushes into a hole and closes the valve when there's adequate gas in the bowl, and then when it opens up, it lets gas right down through this hole. The carburetor bowl has to be full of fuel all the time, so the carburetor can suck up fuel through these jets right here, this tube I'm pointing at, and then atomize it before it goes into the engine. Sometimes this is out of adjustment depending on what kind of carburetor you have. This one is a non-adjustable. Most likely the culprit with this type is a restricted, where this needle seats into this hole here. See, as I'm pushing it up, it's blocking the hole. As I'm letting it down, it's opening up the hole. That is probably restricted, that tiny orifice, that tiny hole. So what I can do is pull out this float right here very carefully, not losing any pieces, and remembering how it goes back together, and spray some carbon choke and cleaner up into that hole, up into that orifice, and kind of clear it out if that's potentially restricted. Now with the bowl off, I'm just going to test my fuel flow and make sure that this orifice isn't restricted just by turning on this valve. Looks pretty good, looks pretty healthy. We don't have bad fuel pressure to here. So now that all this is cleaned out, I know that I have good flow from my tank, I know that I have good flow through the filter and through the valve, and I know that I have good flow through the float valve also. If this still runs terrible or has fuel delivery issues, it's one last culprit, and that would be my jets. I'm going to show you the jet here. I'm going to be very careful because this needle will walk out of this very easily. See this needle right here? It'll walk out of that, and I'll end up losing it, and all this stuff will fall on the ground here. We look up in this hole, we can see our jet, and this carburetor only has one jet. Now if I'm lucky, I can find something small enough, like a bread tie right here. Focus, you fuck, to fit up in there. Clean that out and make sure that I have a clear hole through there. Yeah, that fits right up through there. See? I know that my main jet is clear. I forgot to mention, on most of these modern carburetors, there's actually a pilot jet in the top, and you pull it out like in this video right here, and you can fish a small wire through there and clean that out. That's clogged a lot. I know that my float valve is letting gas into the carburetor. I know that there's no more sediment in my tank or my fuel filter, and I know we got good fuel flow. And just to show you one more time, see, I turn on the gas, it's flowing good. I turn off the gas, it's not flowing. So I'm going to put this back together and we're going to pray it runs right. Still doesn't run right. I will work on adjusting this screw, this fuel air mixture screw right here, in and out, and see if that helps it to run better, whether it's lean or fat. This will allow more or less fuel, this idle mixture screw, into the engine and help stabilize the engine as it's running and maybe even solve a stalling problem. It's also an excellent idea to completely unthread that screw, that adjustment screw right there, and shoot a jet of carbon choke cleaner right down into that hole, clean out your pilot circuit. If you have a machine that has been out in the rain or has been exposed to water, especially a pressure washer, it's going to be exposed to a lot of water. I'll show you what happens. Even temperature differentials can create a water situation in your fuel, in your carburetor, in your engine. This has happened so many times, especially on the motorcycles, the Honda CBR. If that thing gets rained on, man, it will not start, or it'll stall, or it'll run like shit sporadically. All the bad symptoms of fuel delivery. And what that is it's water. And basically what water does is it sits below the gasoline. So the gasoline sits on top of the water. The water, if you get water into your gas, it goes down to the lowest points of your fuel delivery system. So it slowly fills up your carburetor, your float bowls, and you go to start your engine. If you're lucky, it starts. If you're unlucky, it's not starting at all. I remedy that 9 times out of 10 by just draining the float bowl. So I will pop on this carburetor right here. I'll just loosen up this nut. I'll drain the float bowl, let fresh fuel get in there, and then they'll usually fire right up. That's why with any machine, any truck, anything like that, before I even try to start it after a very long time of it sitting, I will go right to the carburetor, especially if it's easily accessible, and I will drain the float bowl on it. Drain that out, let some fresh gas get in there, and I'll look at the gas coming out of there too, and you can see the water, you can see the sediment right in it, and that'll give you a good indicator of what's in store for you. Now another big reason on these Honda clones or these Predator engines like this one here, or this snowblower engine over here, you know, they're essentially the same looking engine. They have a low oil pressure sensor that will automatically shut the engine off if it's glitching up or if it senses low oil. Now I check my oil periodically, and I know that this engine has really good oil. So what I typically do on these Predator clones or these Honda cloned engines is I'll disconnect that sensor entirely. I suspect it's this wire going right here, and after I get this running, what I'll do is I'll unplug that and see if it kills the engine or see what it does. I have to research this exact engine and find where that oil pressure sensor is and how to disconnect it completely. I'm going to link a video of a guy doing it to a regular style Predator engine.
Start by looking at your engine in front and then giving it a turn. So, you want to look for the switch that is located directly into the crankcase, which is right here. You'll follow the wire out, pretty simple, and then you'll run to your first butt connector. You can disconnect it just like that, and you resolve your issue. You can also follow the wire up to the second butt connector and disconnect it right there. That way, the system is completely void, and it will not disrupt your spark and interrupt you while you're riding.
And it's a really simple procedure, and it will eliminate the stalling problem in a lot of situations. It has for me before on a Predator 212 engine or a Honda GX clone. I'm home now. I'm exhausted. I ran that pressure washer for about 2 hours after I ended that video. Anyway, after 2 hours, it stalled again randomly. I suspect there's more sediment in that gas tank that worked its way into the filter. So I got to completely clean out that gas tank, shake it out, make sure it's thoroughly clean. And also, I didn't go over the ignition system in the video. Typically, in my experience, it's rarely the ignition system that's causing the problem. And I didn't go over the pump on the pressure washer. The pump on the pressure washer could be causing this problem. I do have to service that pump. It has a cat pump, so it's a very serviceable, very expensive pump on that. I hope this helps you. And I hope you got some knowledge from this video and you're a little more experienced now when it comes to small engines, especially this style. I call them Predator engines for slang. I think they're technically a Honda GS clone. There's a whole bunch of different sizes, but they're all fundamentally very similar. Until the next one, thank you for tuning in. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Do your best. We'll see you on the next one.